2024 NFL betting preview, breaking down our best bets for each division. Let's take a look now at the NFC North. Division futures odds as follows here, guys. The Detroit Lions plus 130 here. Green Bay Packers plus 200. Chicago Bears plus 330. And the Minnesota Vikings rounding up the group plus 950. Let's start with the NFC North here with your team, Nick, the Green Bay Packers. I just mentioned that wild card game where Green Bay hung 48 points on the Cowboys, and I know you are a Packers fan. What are you looking at with Green Bay moving forward here?
Yeah, a number of spicy odds to jump on here in the Packers futures that you could really find good value into their division odds. I think at plus 200 makes sense. The win total, I think, is 9.5 right now. So the over there is something to keep an eye on as well. But I'm on Josh Jacobs over 925.5 rushing yards. It's minus 110. But if you want to hit on a season-long bet, I really like the odds here. Every year, Aaron Jones eclipsed 200 carries in a Packers uniform. He ran for at least 1,000 yards. I just think Jacobs cruises to probably somewhere in and around 230 carries in this offense. Obviously, as you guys know, one of the most creative offenses in the NFL. Matt LaFleur really knows how to scheme up the best out of his players. And I think this offensive line, much, much better than anything that Josh Jacobs has ever seen. So, he averaged 4.2 yards per carry for his career behind an awful Raiders line. And now he would just need to average 4.15 if he got 230 carries this season. So I think he could go ballistic in this offense. I'm even willing to bet him on over 1,200 rushing yards. I think that was like plus 4 or plus 500 too. So if you want one that's going to hit, I'm on the minus 110 at 925 yards.
Tough, obviously, with JJ McCarthy. We talk about being silly and like knee-jerk reactions to preseason stuff, but I absolutely loved what I saw from JJ McCarthy in his unveiling, as it were. So that sucks about him. Tough to forecast this team, or what, Steve?
No, not tough to forecast for me because I think Sam Darnold is ass. I do not believe in Sam Darnold. He is one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm taking their win total to go under 6.5. That's a plus 130. Sam Darnold has started 56 games in the NFL. He's thrown 56 interceptions. That's the one thing he's really good at, is turning the ball over and just generally not being good. We can't fall for that one quarter or one half we saw, or drive, whatever it was, last season with Kyle Shanahan, to think that he's actually good. And another thing, look at this offense. Yes, I love Aaron Jones. He's kind of getting older. Jordan Addison, who knows what the hell's going to happen to him. Hawkinson's out a few weeks. The defense is And if this team starts out 2-7, 2-8, something along those lines, Justin Jefferson kind of rolls an ankle, just take a couple extra games. We're not going to waste this season for you because we're going to need you when we're good. So, yeah, under 6.5 wins for me, for them. And, I mean, even looking at their schedule, Tony, if you want to look at their schedule, buddy, they open against the Giants. Their next winnable game could be at week 8.
I'll go here with the Detroit Lions, and I don't think we need to do anything crazy here. I'm going to go Lions to win the NFC North at plus 130. In my opinion, this Lions team is comfortably the second best team in the conference. 12 wins 1 year ago, the largest disparity between first and second place in the NFC. The offense is just so well built, and it starts with that offensive line, just an absolute chef's kiss across the entire five. Probably the best unit in the entire NFL. The weapons, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, the 1-2 punch of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. The offense is just very, very good. Now, yes, there are issues defensively. The cornerstones on that side of the ball are good, and they're young. Talking about Hutchinson, talking about Branch specifically, but they did give up a lot of points last season. They addressed some defensive needs with drafting corners early, specifically Terry and Arnold in the first round, and he looks to be a starter on week 1. I mean, these dudes gave up 37 at home to Seattle, 24 to Tony's Carolina Panthers, 28 to the Saints, and so on. So some warning signs on that side of the ball for sure. But I do think we'll see some progress from a young, up-and-coming defense that does feature a few stars for sure. But they got to make sure they have the rest of that unit sorted out. I just like this team. I know the Bears are going to be better. I know the Packers are going to be right there. But I like this team to build off a very, very good 2023 and take the division once again this season. Tony, keep it going here with the Chicago Bears. Lots of eyeballs, of course, on this team, given the number 1 overall pick and Caleb Williams picking up a very good wide receiver in the first round as well in Roma Dunze. They are getting the Hard Knocks treatment right now, so just sort of under the microscope a bit more than other teams. But what are you looking at with this Bears team?
Well, we've talked a lot about the Detroit Lions right now, and I got a former Detroit Lions player. I like under 750.5 rushing yards for DeAndre Swift, their new running back. We've talked so much about overs on this show, and you guys are killing me because I hate season-long overs on the player props. So I'm here to bring a little balance to the show. Let's make sure we get an under here. I like unders. You can win these bets in so many ways. Like I said, it can be an injury. A guy behind you can just really perform well, even if you're not performing bad. Your player can just start not living up to expectations. There can be schematic changes. There's just a lot of ways to win these bets when you go under. And when I look at a guy like Swift, he did have a great season with Philadelphia last year, right? 1,100 something odd yards. But let's try to remember who DeAndre Swift was before he got to Philadelphia. He was a guy who averaged 52 catches a year. He never had more than 625 rushing yards in a season in 3 years in Detroit. And he never had more than 151 carries. All of a sudden, he gets to Philadelphia. Great offensive line, by the way. Good one in Detroit as well, but great offensive line. He has 229 carries, 1,049 yards, and then a career low 39 receptions. I think this year, with a rookie quarterback, they're going to need him to be a little bit more of a receiver to bail Caleb out at times. I think his increased receiving total is going to end up capping his rushing total a little bit. You got Khalil Herbert behind him, who this guy's not a superstar, but as a rookie last year, he had 600-something yards, had a solid season. He's not going away. I wouldn't be surprised to see Herbert get 500-600 yards again this season as a backup. So I'm just a little bit worried about the timeshare situation there potentially. And then just on top of that, there's always injury risk. Swift played 16 or 17 games last year. How often do we see NFL running backs play an entire season without getting injured 2 years in a row? So I'm worried about the wear and tear on his body because historically, before last year, he wasn't a guy that was constantly getting tons and tons of carries. So for a lot of reasons, I really like DeAndre Swift's under here in this system.